give me your social media account. So they're like, cool, I'll give you $500 because you look like you got something going on.
SoLoFunds.com. That's SoLoFunds.com. This is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today, your media hub for all things Black entrepreneurship, politics, news, and events in Hampton Roads and beyond.
Wouldn't you like to be a guest on Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham? Well, the link is in the show notes.
And now, here's your host, Blair Durham.
Greetings.
Blair Durham.
Blair Durham here with Black Wall Street Today. If you're joining me now, you're here for a real treat because I'm joined by Rodney Williams. He's a serial entrepreneur from Baltimore. When Williams went out into the world and achieved a measure of success, he would return home and be overwhelmed to see so many people in need. In 2015, Williams wanted to find ways to bring equity to financial services and to provide access to money in a way that is equitable. Coming from an economically disadvantaged family, Williams witnessed firsthand the lack of equitable solutions to help people. The idea of SoLo Funds was inspired in part by a time when his electricity was shut off as a child because his mother didn't have enough money to pay the bill. With the experiences from his upbringing and his community in mind, William and his co-founder, Travis Holloway, devised a platform that would lessen the impact that emergency situations have on low-income families. The platform, SoLo Loan Funds, uses a new model for peer-to-peer lending. Prior to founding SoLo, Williams founded Listener, a Visa-backed fintech company that he led to over $40 million in funding, numerous awards and partnerships across retail and financial services. He currently serves as the company's chairman. Rodney was recognized by Ad Age's 40 Under 40 in 2012, Cannes Lion Award in 2015, and CNBC Disruptor 50 list in 2015, 2016, 2018, and 2019. Rodney is a graduate of West Virginia University and Howard University. He's a member of the 2019 class of Henry Crown Fellows within the Aspen Global Leadership Network at the Aspen Institute. Rodney, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing fantastic. How's everyone?
Doing well. Listen, I like to have two conversations. I want to spend as much time as we can talking about SoLo Funds, what it is, how it works, where people can find it. And then I just want to talk with you as the entrepreneur about your process in growing this incredible company. So let's start there. The SoLo Funds platform, how does it work? How do people engage with it?
Yeah, I mean, pretty simple. If you need emergency funds, your light bill, flat tire, veterinary bill, you name it, you can sign up in a few minutes, make a request. You actually select your own terms. That means how much you need, when you're going to pay it back, and you post it to our marketplace. Other members, like myself, actually scroll that marketplace and decide to lend that capital. It could be based on your request, or it could be based on a number of different factors. Lending members, so you don't need an emergency loan, but you want to give a hand. You want to help out your fellow human. But at the same time, maybe you also want to make a return. You can scroll through this marketplace and decide who you would like to lend to. That's essentially the platform. We think that it's the community building the community. It's people helping people. And that's what we ultimately wanted to create.
One thing I love about the platform, Rodney, is that you can be a lender today, a borrower tomorrow. Because that's real, right? You can take advantage of both aspects of the platform. What a neat tool, an incredible tool that does something that people have been doing without the measure of sort of safety that you've kind of created inside this platform for many, many, many years, right? Lending to each other. I know I talked a little bit about your inspiration for building this. Talk a little bit about the success that the platform is having. So give us some of the numbers, how many loans have been made, how much money's been lent through the platform, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've crossed over 200,000 loans thus far, growing pretty rapidly. I think that's a testament to like one of the things you just said. Regardless if we exist or not, informal lending and borrowing is the nature of most communities. Church groups have savings, there are savings clubs, and just friends and family that before anyone listening, before the end of the day, or within 24 hours, someone's going to ask you to borrow something. So lending as borrowers is part of us. And I think this platform takes a lot of those insights and a lot of people can relate to it. A lot of people can understand it and a lot of people can build with it. But we're growing very, very, very rapidly, crossing over 100,000 users. And the community is the community outside of the folks that are borrowing and lending. We have a community of watchers. These are people that are in the app doing different things that crossed over 300,000. So very, very excited about what's next for SoLo.
Yeah, pretty amazing, pretty remarkable. I also want to ask if you could just share, because folks are nervous. They're like, ooh, they do these kinds of things with other companies all the time, but you tell them about a new one and it's like, well, how do I know it's safe? What is the safety and security that you put into place for this platform?
Yeah, there's no investment that doesn't have inherent risk. And I think for everyone, we need to understand that, right? I don't know if everyone understands the risk when they buy Bitcoin or do crypto, or there's all types of risks. Even in the stock market, there's risk. Lending to someone has the same type of risk. There's two safety factors that I think are important. We provide a score that it's called the SoLo score. It's based on the cash flow of that particular borrower. It's really important. It's not 100% foolproof though. It's taking into account the cash flow and giving you an assessment. But honestly, depending on your risk profile, the number one thing that we do from a protection standpoint is something called lender protection. Now, for a fee, we will protect that loan in the event it goes delinquent and then give that lender credits. Now, there's two concerns that most people bring up. Well, I'm paying a fee. I'm not really making that much. That's what risk means. If you want to take less risk, then you're probably going to have less reward. I'm trying to teach financial autonomy, not the hard way, right? And I'm one of those folks that I've never read a financial literacy blog and felt like I walked away understanding how to manage money. I think I've understood how to manage money because I've understood what it meant to lose it. I've understand what it meant to protect it. And I've understand what it meant to have consistent investment. And hopefully if you understand what lender protection is, consistent returns, no matter how small, over time, build and build and build. And at the end of a 12-month or 3-month or 6-month time period, that's what you should think about. There's no quick get-rich schemes to building wealth. It's steady, consistent, positive returns.
Mm-hmm. And you did an amazing job kind of talking us through that piece of it. I also wanted you to just share in terms of the platform itself, right? The extent to which information is encrypted. How does the technology communicate and store information? How is it safe for me to give you access to my account to move money around? And not even so much as how you did it, but just what are the mechanisms that you've employed to ensure that this can happen safely?
Yeah, I would love to think that we're great and bright and we've developed the best thing and sliced bread, but I would say we've done something even better. For every user who signs up on SoLo, you actually have to meet our banking partners.
Standards.
Yeah. So we actually don't hold sensitive information. We actually send it to our banking partner. We're also not even the company that's actually moving the funds. It's our banking partner. The banking partner is taking on all of the liability, a lot of the financial movement, as well as the compliance with the financial, mainly because we didn't want to get in between that. What we wanted to do is onboard you. We wanted to provide you a score and create safety, right? And then we've our third-party bank. So if you trust a bank you should trust us because we have, a very, very accredited FDIC bank partner who's managing the compliance and a lot of the security concerns.
Yeah, I'm on the site now. If you haven't had a chance to take a look as of yet, solofunds.com. That's SOLOFUNDS.com. As seen in CNBC, Business Insider, TechCrunch, American Banker, as well as Forbes. It's pretty significant accolades for a young company. Congrats again. And that's really where I want to take the conversation now is, man, how did you do this? Like, so many of us have great ideas, but we are non-technical founders, right? Like, what is this process? Talk about how you found mentors, the role that accelerators have played in your experience. Like, give us the real, give us the raw. How'd you realize, I think I need to go the B Corp route? Like, talk to us about your process as an entrepreneur, as a founder.
Yeah, I've done this a couple times. I think really good founders, you don't need to be an expert at anything. What I do think you need to do well is de-risk the idea. Right? I think you got to be honest with yourself. And sometimes you're the riskiest part of the idea because you have lack of information, lack of network, not an engineer. And then you have to seek how to manage that. Accelerators and mentors and networking is a great way to do so. It's something that I have done really well. SoLo, for example, has participated to date, I want to say maybe 5 accelerators. My company before that, maybe 15 accelerators. What were we doing? We were learning things that we were unfamiliar with. I was de-risking the concept, right? And for SoLo, that's what we were doing in the beginning of the days. We were de-risking it by the knowledge that we were getting in the accelerators. We do a heck of a job recruiting out of accelerators. It's time to get talent and also gaining investors. So I think from my angle as an entrepreneur, I'm always in the business of de-risking my company and my idea. And even fast forward to when you see things like B Corp. At the end of the day, financial services in the United States is very, very hard. It's one of the reasons why so many of us don't get into it. It's actually probably one of the hardest areas within tech, yet alone tech as a whole, due to just regulation and the amount of cost that it takes to actually stand up something in financial services. So, we at one point in time, we were just getting too much scrutiny just because we were brown. Young and brown. And we were like, what?
I was going there next.
Yeah, I mean, because again, the natural assumption is, what are these guys doing? They got to be doing something wrong. So, for us, becoming a B Corp was just as much about proving to, letting a third party, because that's really what happens. Becoming a B Corp, you open up your entire books, you open up an entire process, your entire company to a third party, which is B Labs. And in the process of actually becoming like a legal B Corp entity, B Labs actually comes in and completely assesses who you are to verify that you are who you are, you say who you say, you pay people the right way, you treat your customers the right way. And for us, we were like, you know what, we're going to go out and not only prove it, we're going to be like a benchmark. And we are the only Black-owned fintech that has a B Corp right now, right? I think that's a true testament to who we are and how serious we are.
Super impressive, right? And I was actually, just before you mentioned that, I'm on your site. I've been on your site a number of times since meeting you. And I visit the About page, and I look at this photo, and it sends a very clear message that this is a group of individuals, a diverse group of individuals that are involved with this company. And it's important that that's the message that it sends for the reasons that you just articulated, right? We're assumed wrong. We're assumed bad. You've just done done a brilliant job with it. I probably said that a few times now. I'm a fan of this work. What's your advice to young Black, and I don't mean in terms of age, but just, young Black founders who they've got a thing, and it's a thing that could be viable. What is that? What's that first step, would you say?
Yeah, before the learning is so important, and it's not just important in your higher education, whatever you decide. I think learning is like this continuous thing. But you have to relate it to what you really want to do, right? Your concept or your idea. And one of the things that I'm still passionate about, if you look at the 3 companies that I founded, they're very, very different. And it also doesn't follow the normal logic of you focusing on what you're good at. But the way in which I've been able to grow professionally is I'm still learning. I'm still okay reading a book. I'm still okay saying I don't know and going on Google and figuring it out. And that's really, really important as you're a young entrepreneur in today's environment. I personally, if you come to me for an investment or mentorship, I don't accept you can't find the answer. To me, it's a bit of, I don't think you're ready, right? I'd rather you tell me you found 3 answers and you're trying to figure out what's the right one, right? But the answers, all of the answers to all of the things that we want to go out and accomplish exist. And there's a number of different case studies and benchmarks, whether I want to start a beauty shop to you want to start the biggest beauty brand to you want to start what you want to start. So I really think as a young entrepreneur, it's important for you to do the research and to learn. And you're gonna learn so much about yourself in that process, which is important.
Yeah, and it's a good point too, because while this may be the easiest environment in which to start a company because of the proliferation of Google, et cetera, it doesn't make it any less difficult in a strange way, right? You still gotta, there's still work that's gotta be done if you're gonna be successful. So, and I agree with you, a lot of that is just, what can we learn? Let me ask one more question about your entrepreneurship journey. You mentioned that this company is different from the other companies that you founded. I can imagine, though, that the customer discovery piece for this company, maybe not as significant as what you've done with some of the other things you've developed. We knew there was a need for this, right? What was validation with this company?
What was validation?
Was it more along the lines of, are people willing to do it on an app? We know they're doing it anyway. Are they willing to do it via an app? Or did we already know people are using apps because they're using Cash App?
So I think the validation for me was a couple things. Really just observing behaviors.
Yeah.
Seeing the informal economy work, putting my eyes on it, touching it, right? Asking people why did you just let someone just borrow that, right? Did you get it back, right?
Yeah.
There's a forum right now. If you just go to Reddit /borrow, or there's 50,000 people on this forum asking other people for money. They're like, hey, seriously, to this day. And you can they're looking at you. They're like, give me your social media account. They're like, cool, I'll give you $500 because you look like you got something going on. And
wow,
I really dove deep there, right? The emergence of DeFi, the emergence of crypto, the emergence of the robo traders and Robinhood, all of that is saying is that there's a large amount of Americans that are looking for yield. And they're not super wealthy. They're everyday Americans, right? It doesn't matter. My Uber driver wants to make a little return just as much as I do, right? And that's a very different mindset for how like large financial companies think. When you think about large financial company, all they think about is large deposits. How much money can you give me, right? And it's not like how much money, how can I help you? And these are what I'm trying to describe is this is like market dynamics. And these market dynamics kept pointing to the fact that if as a founder, if I can start creating products that talk to everyday Americans and the financial needs that they need, right? Like this could work. And we said, okay, well, we gotta like attack something that's like super sensitive. And what's more sensitive than a single mom at home with her light bill? Because of her flat tire, she paid to get a new tire and instead of paying her light bill. And, she's going to go 2 days with it not being on, even though she has a job and a car, right? Think about it. So I knew that was a real story. I knew that was a more real story than anybody making thousands of dollars on Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, if I can make that mom happy, if I can save that mom burden, she's going to tell all her friends and family. And then, like you said, I also know that was a temporary moment.
Sure.
She's also going to pay it forward.
Turn around and
30% of our lenders have borrowed.
That's amazing.
Right?
That's amazing.
So yeah, for me, it was just like, I know, I guess I made you take a risk and you make a bet. But for me, it was pretty obvious.
I elaborate on that point though, Rodney, because I thought I was gonna have to draw this really hard line in the sand when I got the app, because it asked you, are you gonna lend? Or are you gonna borrow? So I initially started the process on the lending track. I wanted to see where that was gonna take me. And then I backed out, started again on the borrow. Then when I got in on the borrow, it was or however I did it, I saw that the other option was still there, and I was like, oh, this guy's genius. Next level.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. I became, if you're listening, I became a fan, solofunds.com. It's a brilliant platform. Go ahead.
No, you got it. But again, I don't want to be I say a lot, but I don't want to be direct. But it was obvious to me. When I talk to people who look like me, if I talk to lower income folks that, even folks that are not, but they go home and they have family members, right? They're not so far removed. I remember when we first used to talk for investors and they would say things like, people need $100? And I used to laugh. I was like,
they need it. They need it bad.
They need it bad, like that.
There are people who have broken windows in the winter because the $250 deductible is not happening. It's not happening.
And
there is working poverty, right? It's working poverty. I have a job, I have enough, but if something comes up, it's not there, They're waiting on a windfall. They're between windfall. There's so many scenarios. I mean, you're onto it. And then to be able to see, if you're in the SoLo Funds app, you can even see, you can see when loans are being repaid. 2 minutes ago, somebody just repaid somebody $508. 3 minutes ago. I'm like, oh, come on. This is brilliant.
Nah, they're learning. It's like always having that friend that's there. So you don't want to, once you start to realize, and that's also what we see with our borrowers, once they realize, they're like, you know what? I'm going to pay this back before I pay other things.
Correct.
I know I can come back here. Yep. And it's no questions asked. I come back here, I get funded in a couple of minutes.
In a couple of minutes. We didn't even talk about that. You failed to mention, Rodney, that these loans are being paid out. What is it? 28 minutes on average?
Yes.
So I need a loan right now. I can get the money right now. My credit's not being checked. I've got this score in SoLo Funds, which justifies my ability to repay. I'm going to get this loan ASAP.
Yeah, we were one of the first lending companies that built the entire payment structure on payment, instant payment infrastructure. So And we did that because if you've ever been on the side of the street.
Correct. It's faster than Cash App. No, I'm just kidding.
It just needs to happen immediate, right? It needs to be fast. And that's one of our core insights, is that fast doesn't mean 24 hours or next day. That's not fast. Mm-hmm. And that's what historically fast was for us. Next day, couple of days. Nah, we're talking about 28 minutes. That's what we're talking about.
Yes. Incredible. We are way out of time. Man, we're just completely out of time. But this is great, Rodney. Kudos to you and your team. Keep pushing, keep making it happen.
This show was brought to you by the consulting services of Positive Vibes Incorporated. We do credit fixes, we do debt restructuring, and we put money in the pockets of real estate investors. So give us a call. We can fix your credit. We can restructure your debt. And if you're a real estate investor, I would love to put thousands of dollars into your pockets. 757-932-0177. That's 757-932-0177.
Phenomenal. Stay with us online at Black Wall Street Today on Facebook and Black Wall Street Today on Instagram. And then follow us on Twitter as well at BWS Today. We look forward to talking again next week. Have a wonderful week. I have said, and I will continue to say, that the most important priority for the Black community is the Black community, not a particular political party.
Phenomenal. Hey, yo, when I say black, you say Wall Street. Black Wall Street. When I say black, you say Wall Street.